Once upon a time, in the heart of the Greenleaf Forest, lived a lively hare named Hannah and a thoughtful tortoise named Toby. Hannah, with her long, silky ears and swift legs, loved nothing more than to brag about how fast she could run.
"There's no one in this forest that can race against me and win,"
she would often say, with a proud puff of her chest. Toby, on the other hand, preferred a slower pace. With his sturdy shell and deliberate steps, he appreciated the smaller details of the forest. He loved feeling the cool grass under his feet, watching the butterflies flit, and listening to the birds sing. One sunny afternoon, as Toby was taking his leisurely stroll, he bumped into Hannah, who was in the middle of a sprint. With a swift whirl, she stopped, sending a gust of dust onto Toby's face.
"Oh, Toby,"
she exclaimed, trying to hold back a giggle.
"Why do you even bother walking around the forest when you're so slow? It must take you ages to get anywhere."
Toby smiled patiently, wiping away the dust from his eyes.
I enjoy my walks.
He replied calmly.
It's not always about the speed, but the journey.
Hannah laughed out loud, her voice echoing through the forest.
"Journey, you say? How about we have a race? Let's see if your journey can beat my speed."
Toby thought for a moment. He wasn't particularly fond of races, but he sensed an opportunity to teach Hannah a lesson about humility and perseverance.
All right,
He agreed.
we'll race to the big oak tree by the river. The winner gets the crown of forest flowers.
The news of the race spread like wildfire. Animals from every corner of Greenleaf Forest came to witness the spectacle. The squirrel family took their positions on the treetops for the best view, while the birds flew overhead, chirping in excitement. Even Grandma Mola, who rarely came out of her burrow, was there, her glasses perched precariously on her nose. Mr. Fox, known to be the wisest in the forest, was chosen to be the referee. With a flourish of his tail, he explained the rules.
The path to the big oak tree is marked with blue flags. Stay on the path and no shortcuts.
Hannah, feeling confident, began her warm-up exercises, while Toby simply took deep breaths, preparing himself mentally for the race ahead. As dawn's first light peeked through the trees, Mr. Fox announced,
On your marks, get set.
and with a blow of his whistle, he cried,
Go.
Hannah sprinted forward, her legs a blur, while Toby began his steady trudge. Within moments, Hannah was way ahead, and the spectators could only see a cloud of dust in her wake. She glanced back and saw Toby far behind, moving at his usual steady pace.
"This is going to be easier than I thought,"
She said to herself.
"I'm so far ahead, I can afford to take a break and still win."
Feeling smug, Hannah decided to rest under a cherry tree. Its branches hung low with ripe, juicy cherries.
"Just a quick snack and then I'll continue,"
She thought. But the cherries were so delicious that she lost track of time. After eating to her heart's content, she lay down for what she believed would be a short nap. Meanwhile, Toby continued his consistent pace. He didn't let Hannah's lead discourage him. Along the way, he admired the beauty of the forest, the shimmering dew on the leaves, the playful dance of the butterflies, and the gentle ripples in the ponds. As he approached the cherry tree, he noticed Hannah, sleeping soundly with cherry juice stains all around her mouth. A smile tugged at Toby's lips, but he didn't stop. He remembered the aim of the race and continued on his path. The sun climbed higher in the sky, and the forest began to buzz with anticipation.
Where are they?
Whispered Mrs. Rabbit.
Who do you think will win?
Chattered Mr. Squirrel. Deep in her dreams, Hannah dreamt of standing on the winner's podium, the crown of forest flowers on her head, and the cheers of the entire forest ringing in her ears. But as the sun's rays became warmer, she stirred and woke up with a start. Looking around and realizing she had slept longer than intended, Hannah panicked.
"Oh no! I need to get to the finish line!"
She sprang to her feet and darted towards the path, hoping she still had a chance to win. But as she ran, she was met with a surprising sight. A crowd of forest animals had gathered near the big oak tree, and they were cheering loudly. But the cheers were not for her. They were for Toby, who was only a few steps away from the finish line. His face was lit up with determination, and his slow but steady steps resonated with the heartbeat of the forest. Hannah couldn't believe her eyes. The finish line was so close, yet so far. With all her might, she sprinted towards it, her long ears flapping in the wind. The spectators gasped as they watched the dramatic turn of events unfold. But it was too late. With one final deliberate step, Toby crossed the finish line, greeted with roaring applause from the forest animals. He had won the race. Hannah, panting and out of breath, arrived moments later. She looked around, realizing that her overconfidence had cost her the race. Toby, noticing her disappointment, approached her with the crown of forest flowers in his hand.
Hannah,
He began with a kind smile.
it's not always the fastest who wins, but the most consistent and determined. However, I believe we both deserve this crown, for we've both learned valuable lessons today.
He placed the crown on Hannah's head and then added a flower from it to his own shell. Hannah looked at Toby with newfound respect.
You're right, Toby. I learned that being fast doesn't always mean being the best. And more importantly, I've learned the value of humility.
The forest animals cheered for the two, not just for the outcome of the race, but for the spirit of sportsmanship and friendship they displayed. The sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The forest was filled with laughter, songs, and dances. Hannah and Toby danced together, their movements reflecting their unique rhythms, but their hearts in sync. From that day on, Hannah no longer bragged about her speed, but instead, she and Toby organized races for all the animals in Greenleaf Forest. Not to see who was the fastest, but to enjoy the journey and celebrate the joys of friendship. And so, the tale of Toby the Tortoise and Hannah the Hare became legendary in Greenleaf Forest. Not as a tale of a surprising victory, but as a testament to friendship, humility, and the timeless lesson that it's not always about the start or the finish, but the journey in between. The end.